Good morning, Atlanta. Oh, come on, y'all can do better than that. Good morning, Atlanta. Woo! Welcome to our workshop presented by Google. My name is Drew Tonsmeyer, and I actually don't work for Google. I am actually local. My office is 10 miles up 75 at Kennesaw State University. I work in a program called the Small Business Development Center. So for 23 years, I've worked with businesses just like everybody that is here, and I just have one of the expertise of dealing in the digital marketing space. So I know what it's like to start a business, grow a business, and how to be found. In fact, this morning, how many of you had a nice commute in this morning? Yeah, it was Google Maps that got me here. I mean, I think I know my way to the Cobb Galleria, but today, it didn't take me on one straight road. I went through 4 different roads to get to this location that saved me about 10 minutes of time. And that's what you have to realize is your customers do the same thing. They're trying to find information that can make their lives just a little bit easier. So what I'm going to show to you is how to get found on Google Search and on Google Maps, because your customers are going to do exactly what I did this morning, is to find information to make it easier to get what you want. Sound good? All right. So it all begins with what we call a search query. How many of you have used Google in the last day to find something? Okay, that's what I mean. All right. There are different kinds of searches that go on. You can search on google.com, that's the web-based. You could also search on Google app, that's going to give you some different results. And then you can also search on Google Maps. There are different kinds of information that will happen. But when we do a search up at the top, we call that a search string. We're trying to see what can it find. And then Google searches its index of all of its information to find the most relevant piece of information that user is looking for. Typically, what will show up is if you look for a business, a category, but more importantly, especially in a big city like Atlanta, you're going to hit a geographical reference. And then Google's going to give map listings in addition to organic listings. Like take, for instance, this location that we're in. Are we in Atlanta? Are we in Smyrna? Are we in Vinings? Are we in Cumberland? And so Google is searching all that information to go, what is that person looking for? Are they looking for the listings that might be in Atlanta or in Smyrna? Cumberland and Vinings are communities that really don't exist with their own zip code. But yet Google does know that there's a community called Vinings, called Cumberland, called Buckhead. So it knows this kind of information that is in there. So we're trying to make this information show up very quickly. This is where the power is in your hands. You have the ability of creating the information that makes it easy for people to find it. Because people have about 7 seconds when they do a search that they expect to find a result. And so being current in your website, being current in your listing on the map page will help you be found in that 7-second interval of how quickly people will search. And they're going to search on different devices depending upon what they're looking for. They can search on a phone, they can search on a tablet, they can search on a reader, they can search on a desktop. So depending upon what device that somebody's using can also vary the kind of results that people will see when they do a search on Google. One of the cool things that happens is that when you do a search, the organic listings will show up. In addition to the organic listings, you can also have your Google My Business listing or your map listing. That is this information that is here. And I'm going to show you some different features and some new features that are happening with the Google My Business that if you haven't updated your profile, very important, you want to get new information up to date. So when we do that search, we're probably going to show up on a map listing. We're going to do 2 things. A customer is going to look and see where you are. but they're probably going to do exactly what I did this morning, is going hit driving directions. And they're going to drive to right where you are. So it's very important that we can show up on this map. And this is great whether you're a brick and mortar business or a home-based business. There's a feature within the Google Map listing that you don't have to show your home address, that if you're a home-based business, but you still want to show that you are a service-based business that might be in Marietta or in Kennesaw or in Atlanta or in Vinings. So we'll show you some of those particular features that are there. In this profile, you'll see your address, your phone number, your website. That is how people are going to find you. They're going to connect through one of those three pieces of information: your phone or that address. They're going to drive to you, or they're going to try to connect to your website. So that's why we want that profile is to be complete as possible. As I mentioned, everybody is using different devices. They're using, actually, we all use different devices throughout the day. Like this device. What is this? It's a phone. No, it's not. How many of you, this is your alarm clock? How many of you, this is your TV? How many of you, this is your GPS? So that's what's changed, is we're a multi-screen society now. People have a small screen, they will have bigger screens, they have large screens. There are TVs now that are smart TVs that have full screen apps that are in there. Any size of these screens, and that's why we want to make sure that our information is responsive to whatever screen size that people are using. Because they might be on a phone, they might be on a tablet, they might be on their home TV. And we want our information to show up in whatever variable they're using, so that information is easy for them to access. So that's one of the great things about the Google My Business app, is it conforms to every screen size that's available. So let's talk about how to get your business listed on Google for free. Love that price. So the first thing you want to do is go in, is my listing already there? Many times somebody may have already created your listing, or Google has already pulled your information, and maybe you need to claim your listing. So one of the things that you can do is search to see if your listing exists. If you go to gybo.com, that stands for Get Your Business Online, gybo.com/business. That will give you a search screen, which you see up here, that allows you to see, does my listing even exist? So gybo.com/business, you'll get a search string to see, does my business already exist within the Google My Business listing? Step 2 is, once you see that, there might be 3 different ways that your information could show up. First off, hopefully Google will say, yes, we have your listing, and yes, your information is complete. It will look something like this. Great, your business profile is complete. Click the green button to continue editing this profile. Or you might get a screen that says, your business information might be incorrect. So you might need to go and edit this. Or the third variable you could get is, you might need to create your free listing. So look at that screen to see, which button do I need to push? Do I need to create it? Do I need to edit? Do I need to just approve it and make sure it's all functioning? Make your life easier. One of the things Google did a few years ago was make all of their different services with a single sign-in. And if you are running any other Google properties, like Google Analytics, Search Console, make sure use the same login for your Google My Business profile. It'll make it a lot easier. If you're setting up your Google My Business page, understand when you set it up, that email, that account becomes the owner of that account. And so you want to make sure you've written down what login did I use, because that is going to dictate who or if you can even access it again. So you'll sign into your Google account with your email that you've used for your Google services. Click next, and then you'll enter in the password. Then you'll see, is my business listing on the map somewhere? So you'll get a listing that says, yes, it's here. So you'll click on that and it will get to the map listings. If you don't see it, it'll give you an opportunity to list all the business details. This is very important to do. When you are setting up your business profile, you're going to get put in your street address. How you set up that address profile will dictate how you set it up anywhere else, because you need to be consistent, and it needs to be the legal address that the post office recognizes, and make sure how you abbreviate, you are consistent with that. For instance, if you live at 124, or your business is at 124 Mulberry Court, did you abbreviate court CT, or did you spell it out CORUT? Every business listing you do from now on needs to be matched up to how you set it up on your Google My Business profile. So every other map listing, Google is comparing how is this compared to the master listing that is out there. So that's one of the things I see that causes a lot of rankings to drop, is you are inconsistent in your business listings. If you have a suite address, put it on the second line, not on the top line. There's a second line for that. How did you abbreviate suite? Did you put it ST, or did you spell out suite, or did you use the number sign and then that? You want to be consistent everywhere you go. So consistent about how you list your street address, consistent about how you list your suite number. And then make sure you have the spelling of your cities correct, and make sure your phone number is correct. And notice when you put in your phone number, you're going to put in 10-digit code, and you don't need the slashes and dashes. It will automatically put it in. Then you will choose your primary category. You will have the availability of adding 10 categories, but you want to start off with what is your major category. When you start typing in the search field for your category, Google will pre-fill your choices and make sure you are selecting the right one. Like, are you a bakery? You want to make sure you are listed properly in the bakery category versus a caterer. Those are two different kinds of businesses that are in there. So pay close attention to, is my category right? And then we'll have an opportunity to add more categories if you service more than one kind of industry that is in there. How many of you have a home-based business? Nearly half. All right, you still want to create your map profile, but you don't want your exact location to show up. Rather, you would like a service area to show up. So, one of the questions that it will ask is, I deliver goods and services at my customer's location. You'll check that radio button as yes, and then you will hit the continue. It will then give you an opportunity to show your service area. So you can pick a city. Understand, if you say, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, it's going to give you the city limits of Atlanta. It's not going to give you the metropolitan area of Georgia. So if you're saying I service people all over, inside and outside 285, you'll be better with the radial or radius listing. So you'll click within radius. And actually, the tighter your radius, the better off you are. Because if you're a bakery, being in a 50-mile radius is not going to really enhance your profile, because you're not really probably going to attract customers 50 miles away, not in a city like Atlanta. So it can be a fairly small area. Like 5 or 10 miles in Atlanta typically covers a population of anywhere from 2 to 4 million people. Versus if you're in a more rural area, that's when you might have a larger geographical boundaries. So don't make your boundaries too large. Make it reasonable to what is also within your scope of service. If you are a a brick and mortar or you service customers at your location, you can also check this box that says, I also serve customers at my location, and it will show your location on your map listing. So it gives you that option. Hit the continue button. You will get a verification notice. In 2 ways of getting it verified. This is to make sure that you have ownership and you are the one that is going to be approving and editing this listing from now on. So one of the things you're going to do is double check your address, phone number, and then you're going to say continue, verify with a postcard. That postcard is going to come to a physical address. So if you're a home-based business, you need to put your home address. Post office boxes are not allowed. And you're not allowed to include, if you are a completely online business, that you are just an e-commerce, then this listing is not going to help you. Rather, you can create a brand listing and not a map listing within the Google My Business. So it's very important that you're including your own physical address, and that at that physical address, you can get a piece of mail, you can get that postcard, because in that postcard is going to be a 6-digit verification code that you will go back into this listing, punch in that verification code, and then your listing is then live. So you can still edit your listing up until you got your verification code. Once you verify, you will still be able to continue to update that particular listing. You can also hit the verify later and still go into the profile and then request the postcard. So Google will also help you by going through the Google Get Your Business Online, the GYBO. If you go to gybo.com/ownthemap, you can also do a quick verification. I've always found that here in Atlanta, that our postcard service gets there pretty quickly, and most of the time that postcard is going to show up within 5 days. Google will tell you it's 1 to 2 weeks, but here in Atlanta, it happens pretty quickly because this is a major metropolitan area, so we can get that access fairly quickly with that. So let's take a look at some of the other features. There's some new features that you want to try to take advantage of. So you'll get a dashboard. Within this dashboard, you'll get information about what kind of visitors you're getting, as well as your own business information that you can edit and update. This is very important because this is where your Google reviews lie. And your online reputation is probably one of the most important aspects of your business. And I'll show you how you can view your reviews, and then you'll be able to respond to those reviews through the Google My Business page. But this is the primary page. In fact, more people, I'm at Kennesaw State University. This is a major university. That map page gets more visitation than our website. That's how important that map listing is, because most of the time our customers are just looking for my phone number, they're looking for my address. That's all they're looking for. And they're going to go, what's the easiest way to get that information? You can also update this from the app, so you can download the Google My Business app and you can update your map listing on a Droid or on an iPhone. It makes it very convenient to do that. So within your profile, you'll see that you can edit your information, you can create a post. This is something new that is happening on these listings. You can add photos, and I'm going to go into that just a little bit sooner. But we want to look at that business information, making sure this is where we can add those categories. You do not want to add categories that really are not relevant. Relevancy is the key component of being found on Google, is you need to be relevant to the kind of searchers that are out there. It doesn't do you much good to get searchers that are not interested in your particular product or service. So that's why I start with the dashboard. We're going to look at some of the features that are within your dashboard. So you can add hours. We're coming into the holiday season. So your hours might change for the next 4 weeks, from Thanksgiving through the Christmas holidays. Your hours of service might change. You can instantly go in, update your hours. So maybe you've got expanded holiday hours. Instead of closing at 8, you close at 10. Or on Black Friday, you open at 4 a.m. You want to be able to update this information. So your hours of operation are very important, because when somebody's pulling up this map, Google's going to show them, are you open or not? So update your hours. You can put in special holiday hours that are in there as well. The internet is a visual medium. That's how it's done. In fact, we can process a photo much faster than we can process words. You ever heard the phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words? That's what we mean, is that people on the internet want their information quickly, and if you can give them the visuals of what's there. So it's wonderful that you can describe your business as 500 words or less. Can you show them your business through 10 photos? So we want to include as many photos and keep updating your photos. So you can click on the photo from the menu bar on the left, or you can also click on Manage Photos. There are 3 primary photos you will have. You will have a cover photo, an identity photo, as well as a logo that you can include. So you want to update those 3 things because they're going to show up quickly. But also within your profile is Google has made it very easy. Show inside of the business, show the outside of the business, show my personnel, my management team. So you can include information about the physical attributes of your business as well as the people attributes of your business. And then you can even add in more photos. If you've already updated your profile, keep adding new photos. New information can help you rise to the top of a search. So the more photos, the better. You want this profile to be as complete as possible. So the more photos, the better. The more up-to-date photos, the better. Let me give you a little SEO trick on photos. Is when you take a photo with a phone that has a file name, typically a file name for something taken with an iPhone is going to be 100_104.jpg. What you want to do is change the name of that photo so that it says something like outside of my shop.jpg. So change your photo name when you put these in. So when you take photos, update with a file name, because how many of you ever done an image search on Google? That's how it's finding what's on that image, is starting with the file name. So this is another way of helping your own SEO, is change the file names for all of your photos. So we want to update our photos, and then we want to update with good file names that have keywords. And everybody wants to know, what is a keyword? A keyword is any word people use within that Google search to find the product or service they're looking for. So again, keywords could be geographical, Kennesaw, Vinings, Atlanta. It could be bakery, donuts, and cake. Think like your customers. What are the words that they do? Like I deal with a lot of landscapers. Their nomenclature might say that they put in irrigation systems. They have no idea what an irrigation system is in the city. We call them sprinklers. You know, another technical term is they do installs or installations. Have no idea what an installation is, but I know what a flower bed and what pine straw is. So think and talk like your customers. Use their nomenclature, not your industry nomenclature. You can add in what we call attributes. Do you have free parking? That's always a luxury in Atlanta. Do you take checks, credit cards? Do you have any other special services that are in there? And these are drop-down menus, so it's very easy that when you go into attributes, you'll get drop-down menus that you can add these attributes that are in your physical location. And all it's doing is just trying to give more information to make it easier for your customers to find you and go, that's who I'm looking for. All right, mentioned about online reviews is this is the major reputation is that when people do a search, they're going to see instantly your star rating. This is something for every business to manage and control and pay attention to. So your Google reviews are probably some of the most important information. In fact, most people trust what's on a review versus what they trust coming from a commercial. So that's why manage your online reviews, and you'll get to these reviews through that Google My Business page. Notice it's not your Google Map page, it's my Google My Business page. So you can respond to reviews. People ask, what reviews do I respond to? My answer, all. When somebody leaves you a good review, say thank you. That is what we try to do with every one of our customers. Somebody leaves you a bad review, that's when you go, I am so sorry you had that experience. Here's my phone number and maybe we can solve this. Because now you have shown that you can be responsive to the customers, even the ones that may not have been exactly happy with you. And for a lot of business owners, those bad reviews could come from competitors, disgruntled employees, and they still will show. It is very difficult to have a review eliminated off of your profile. It's there permanently. So you want to pay attention to these things and get your star ratings up as high as possible. All right, post. This is the newest feature within your Google My Business profile. Is these posts you can update with special events, special announcements, new product listings. So I encourage you to include posts. These posts will show up on your profile. They can have dates to them, a beginning date and ending date, so it'll only show up during that period that it's relevant. Like again, we're going to have a Black Friday sale, or more importantly, shop small on Saturday. So that's our day, is our shop small, because I'm the small business person. I love my local small businesses. So the Saturday after Thanksgiving is a big shopping day for us. That makes for a great profile of what are you going to be featuring on Small Business Saturday. That makes for a good post. This is a brand new feature, is your customers not only want to talk to you by phone, but you know, how many of you have teenagers where the only way they'll talk to you is through a text message? So customers can be the same way. Is maybe I don't need to talk to you, but I would like to text you. So I can actually text a business through their Google My Business page. And so within your profile, you might have a phone. And I just did this with one of my clients yesterday, is they just said, oh, we just got a new phone dedicated to the store. And it's a mobile phone. So they just went in to change their profile, change their phone number, so that now customers can text them. And when they went to their listing and saw, somebody had actually already texted the old number 2 days ago. So this is what's changing, is your customers want to touch base with you through a multitude of ways, by phone, by touch, by text. And so we want to be responsive in any way possible. So these are the two brand new features within the Google My Business, is allowing posting and allowing messaging between you and your customers. So you can dedicate this, that you can say, gee, I'll be able to respond back to you in a couple of hours. Because if you're a retail store, you might have customers in place and you maybe not can answer. Send them a quick text that says, I know I got that you messaged me. Then you can get back to them in a couple of hours and says, what do you need? Happy to do it. A lot of times they might be checking stock. Do you have this in stock? And this can help make a sale. Because that's the thing that really happens, is that 80% of all purchases do not happen in a store. they actually get initiated on an internet search. You are all just like your own customers, is that when you're looking for information, you probably start with a Google search. Either on the search page or on the map page, you start looking for information before you go and buy it. And nowadays, before I make a trip across town, I might see if you have it in stock. And how easy is it for me to just message you saying, do you have this in stock? That's what's kind of going on with those. I'm an analytics geek. I love data. I love seeing, okay, if I do this, what kind of traffic am I getting? And your Google Map page or the Google My Business page has its own analytics that's called Insights. Speaking of which, how many of you have analytics on your website? This is how you can tell. You've got analytics on your website. We have Insights for your Google My Business page, because it will show you how many times did it show up on a search or show up on a map listing. How many people asked for directions? How many people actually called you? So this chart can show you a lot of what's going on. Did people put in their search directly, or did they go through a search to find what they were looking for? So it gives you an idea of what people are doing. And you'll see your map page is probably getting more frequency than your own website. This is why this particular listing is so important. And this data will show you what is actually happening on this particular site. You can add managers to this. When you set this site up, you are the owner. Currently, there can only be one owner of this listing. That's why I always encourage small businesses, do your own listing. Don't use an outside service to do this, because oftentimes they didn't think about that when they put it under their email or under their account, they own it. And I've had a lot of difficulty trying to get ownership changed. But what you can do is you can add managers. So if you've got an SEO company, you can hire that out and add them as a manager to the listing. So when you create it, you're the owner. Only one owner. You can have multiple managers, and they can post and edit the information. Or you can have a communication manager, which has more limited availability of editing and updating the information. They can still post, but they can't delete, is the biggest thing that is going on. So you always want to own it. You can add these managers through users. So go through users, add a manager, add a communication manager, and you're going to do this by just entering their name and their email. Really easy to do. Probably takes 15 seconds to add a management. How many of you don't have your website up yet? So we got about 10% that have not created their own website. Google has a free service, a free template for developing your own website. So let me just kind of show you these features, as well as if you have your own website, these are things you want to be thinking about, making sure your site has this, because sites change, the information changes, and the way that we have to set this up changes. The useful life of most websites is 3 to 5 years. So if your website is over 5 years old, you're probably going to scrap it and start all over. And 5 years from now, you're going to scrap that and start all over, because all of these profiles are changing. Kind of give you a heads up, Google is saying by the year 2020, 2 years from now, 75% of all content that we will be wanting to look at will be pics and videos. Pictures and videos. So think about how we want to be creating these profiles now. Is that in 2 years, if 75% are looking for pictures and videos, we need to be creating those pictures and videos now. So we can create a free website, if you don't have one, through the Google My Business page. So I'm going to show you real quickly how you can set those things up. So we can do this on a mobile device, which is always cool, because you want to see, how does this look on a mobile device? If anything, always look at your website through a phone, because that's how the majority of people are going to view you, is through their phone. but we can create it, we can edit it, and then we can publish. I have seen people do this, create a website in less than 10 minutes, and it's really cool. So within the Google My Business menu, if you click on website, that's what this is for, is it's going to set up a template. And when you create it, it's going to pull all of the information out of your Google My Business listing, and it's going to automatically populate this template. And all you have to do is then go and edit. So this is cool. It will set it up with a profile picture coming off of the cover picture that you created within your Google My Business profile. It's going to set up a phone number, and that's what I always harp on my folks about, is going, when people come to your website, what do you want them to do? I mean, what do you want them to do? Most of us do not have e-commerce going on. So I don't want to make a sale because I'm not an e-commerce store. Most of the time you're saying, I want them to call me or visit me. Make it easy for people to call you. Make it easy for people to find your address. Because you want to describe where you are. I can say, we're at 1961 North Cobb Parkway. Does that mean anything to anybody? But when I say we're a quarter mile north of the Big Chicken, now do you know where we are? So we want to give addresses, and we want to give, this is where we can give details about landmarks within our website. We don't want to include those landmarks on our Google Map page because it's already got a good map, but we want to include that kind of information on our website. It comes very much like WordPress has themes. This Google template has themes, and you can edit and change. And what's cool is once you have the content in, you can change the theme and it won't change the content. So it's not like if you change the theme, oh gosh, I now got to start over again. It's going to be very easy to update this information. And you can play around with these different themes. How does it look under this theme versus this one? And we can change it very quickly. So under the edit button, we can change our headings. All right, within a website, we have headings, and there are 6 hierarchical levels within that. And Google already knows this is called an H1 title. H1 means it's the highest headline within this particular page. And then it can go through an H2, H3, H4 with subheadlines. And it's automatically setting up this structure to change it. Google, the computer, also knows things that are in bold or italicized have a different emphasis than things that are not. So we want to include the right kind of emphasis within the content, within the text, of bolding and italicizing things that stand out to make it easier for that computer to scan through that website. So this template makes it very easy that we can just highlight, hit the bold, highlight, hit the italics, or we can even create a hyperlink. A hyperlink is when we have connected words. This is called an anchor text. We can highlight anchor text, hit our hyperlink, and then it can link to another page either on our site or somewhere else. That is probably the 3rd ranking factor of most websites is hyperlinks. Both internal, meaning how many hyperlinks do you have from page to page, as well as external links. Who's linked to you from outside to you? And a lot of times everybody thinks, oh, I want them linked to my homepage. That's not necessarily true. You have different links depending upon what information you have on each page. And this website template allows you to have multiple pages. And it's got a lot of SEO built into it, meaning when you have a page name should have keywords in it. So, and every page is different, meaning they all have different names so that we're maximizing our SEO. That's why I like this template, because it steps you through going, you got different page names, you got different emphasis, different pieces of information on each part of this page. You can add photos. Remember I just said 75% of all content is going to be photos and pic. Make it photo rich. Make it interesting. Make your photos look well. That's very important. Don't make them blurry. Don't make them too big. That is the other thing, is most of the time when we upload a photo, they're too big for a mobile device. And a lot of times we need to shrink those things down or compress that photo so that it fits well within a 4-inch screen. That's the magic thing that we're trying to do, is making sure it fits in that 4-inch screen that looks well and is optimized. You can change the settings. In fact, this template comes with a free domain that has what domain you want with .business.com. What you really want to do is convert to your own domain. So you can create this website and then you can go and purchase a domain. Typically, most domains cost about $12 a year to buy. And you can add multiple domains. But one of the things that I would caution is, I'm a .com, .net, if you're a nonprofit, .org. But that's usually all the extensions people can remember. People have a hard time remembering to type down .info, .tv, .biz, .us, .co, is they can't remember. So try to find a domain that's a .com, .net, .org. That is a lot easier. Once you have created the information, edited that, updated it, it's a simple push button to publish, and it will go into the internet. So in 10 minutes, you can download your profile, edit, and your site can be up. And then you can even update that later with your own domain. If anybody has been to Google Sites, that's where this is hosted. You can also buy domains through the Google Domain Registry. There are lots of different registry ones, but Google services are very reasonable, very easy. They will let you choose these different domains. Again, my suggestion is always concentrate on a .com, .net, or .org to make it easy for your clients. You will put in billing address when you buy a domain. They're going to do auto bill. The other thing I would recommend is there's a privacy settings on domain registries, and it's going to cost you $1 a month, and it doesn't matter who you buy a domain from. So $12 a year will give you privacy settings for a domain. Those people that have ever said, how do I get a call or an email out of the blue that I have no idea how they got my information? Because if you didn't hit the privacy settings, your information about your domain settings is public. So they know who you are, what your email address, what your phone number is. I'm all about privacy, so I think it's worth $12 a year to have some privacy in this. So after you set this up, you'll get a chance, do I want the privacy settings? It's an additional $12 a year, and it's worth it. But when you keep updating your site, that's how people are going to find you. They're going to find you on a map, they're going to find you on your website, they're going to find you on a phone. That is how customers are today. And their attention span is shrinking. I am the poster child of, ADD. Is that if I can't find it in 7 seconds, I've used the wrong search term, or your information is not relevant for what I was looking for. And your customers are the same way. You got about 7 seconds for them to find you, connect with you, and says, that's who I want. And it's about true on every page of your site. You got about 7 seconds to engage them, and that they're now looking at these things. So after today, hopefully you've got some tools that can help you size. I encourage you, if you do nothing else, set that page up today. You cannot set it up too soon. Just make sure that you can get a postcard so that you can verify that address today. And if you already have your map listing, update it. Update your hours, update the photos, update the messaging phone so that your customers can reach out to you. With that, I've got a little bit of time to take a phone call if need be. Yes. You're going to have to come forward. I can't hear back there.
Keep coming.